know. Like, social media is fake. Like, so a lot of the people that seem like they would be the sweetest people in person, you meet and you get your heart crushed because you've been watching them since you were younger or, like, whatever. And then you meet them and you're like, I wish I never met you. And I had this, like, idea of you in my head that I could just keep and never have to, like, experience you being rude. But a lot of influencers, their ego takes over and then they're not a good person.
Yeah, I remember I tweeted one time when I had Twitter and I was like, your favorite influencer is probably a bitch. Hey guys, let's talk about it. I'm Kaylie Altman and I'm here with Daniella.
Hey.
And yeah, we're just gonna be chit-chatting today. Me and Daniella met like 2 years ago.
Yeah, about 2 years.
Yeah, I used to live in the same complex as her boyfriend, and so we just kind of met through him and started hanging out.
And when I first met her, I thought she was not nice.
Literally, I didn't say anything. There's no words that came out of my mouth except like, hey.
Yeah.
I also like,
she was going through something at the time.
yeah, we had some roommate-ish.
Yeah.
It's like right when we first like moved in, and you and Chris were like it was a little bit complicated at the time, so I didn't know who you were either. So it was like Chris and his friends lived in that house. So
yeah.
I like was like there's like 8 girls there, and I was like, who is who? And
yeah, it was a little bit interesting, but we went over the hurdle. We got to know each other, and then we fell in love.
Yeah, essentially. And the first time we ever like really hung out, we went to a Nasty Gal gifting suite. It's a very distant memory. It feels like it was a long time ago.
It was a really long time ago. And then we started going to like every event together.
Yeah, she became like my event partner. I was like, oh, this event, Daniella's coming with me.
That's one.
So you moved from Texas to LA. How was that for you, and why did you decide to move here?
So I decided to move here during quarantine, and, you know, a quarantine decision. I was bored in the house for like a year straight, and my mom didn't let me leave during quarantine. So like I was like in the house 24/7. And then me and a friend at the time, we decided to pick up everything when quarantine was like kind of over and move to LA. And my biggest mistake was moving downtown because I had never been to LA or like been downtown LA. I had been to LA.
Oh, okay.
And we just got an apartment, and it was a very interesting last minute decision that we just picked up everything and left. But it was kind of just he wasn't my boyfriend yet, but the guy I was talking to also lived in LA, and I always wanted to live here. And then I had someone to do it with me, so then I was like, let's just pick up everything and go and have fun.
How was your mom when you moved? Like, was she supportive of it?
Yeah, she was super supportive. My mom's always like, follow whatever, like she's a very go with the flow parent, so she was very supportive, which made it 10 times better, because I think if she wasn't, I would be scared.
Yeah, that would have been harder. When you first moved here, and did you start like going out like immediately, like as soon as you started moving?
Yeah, I literally would go out like 5 days out of the week. I don't know what it was. I think because after quarantine, the parties were insane. Like everyone was throwing house parties. So like I just went, like I was drinking like Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Like it was insane. I don't know how my body kept up with it. But yeah, I was like meeting different influencers, and it was very different because like I'm from Texas. There's like no one there that's like influencers in the space. So it was like kind of fun at first, but it was really fun because I was drunk all the time.
Yeah.
After that, it was kind of like, I feel like it was more exciting at first, and then it was like, what am I doing? Like I'm only having a fun time when I drink.
Yeah, so you don't think it was like fulfilling?
No, that's why like I feel like I never go out now. Like it takes me a lot to go out.
Yeah.
I'm not like I don't know what I was on, but
I know it went like you were going out all the time, and then I moved up here, and then you stopped going out, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, now I'm sober, so I'm like, sorry, Kaylie, you're on your own. You will not catch me in a club in LA. LA clubs are the worst.
Yeah, I think anytime like I go out, if I'm like not drinking, I'm probably not having a great time.
Yeah.
Because I just kind of found some new friends recently, and they actually go out, and I not just turned 21. I mean, I'll be 22 in a year. Or, whoa.
A year.
22 in a couple months. But when I turned 21, it was when I didn't live out here. And then now I can go out to the clubs and
Yeah.
I'm getting shit faced because I'm not like, well, I'm gonna go to Poppy and stand there.
Guys,
No.
Kaylie drunk is so funny. Kaylee's like a very like happy drunk and touchy drunk. Like she just like wants to love on everyone, and it's cute.
Very much backfired. Daniela's seen me. I think it was the first time I ever got blacked out.
Yeah.
That was a really not great night. Yeah, I got blacked out at a party.
Which one was that?
It was Johnny, Chris's,
Oh.
Johnny's.
Johnny's birthday. That was a night. That was a night. But it's funny because she like sometimes people get like drunk and they slur and they're really annoying. Like Kaylie like is like full force, no, like it seems like she knows what she's doing, but then she's like, what happened last night?
I'm a little too touchy-feely when I get drunk.
Yeah.
So then everyone thinks I have a crush on them.
Yeah.
Which is just
doesn't.
not the case. Yeah.
I feel like I think 90% of the events we've gone to are like we go for like 10 minutes and we're like, okay, we got our content, let's leave.
Yeah.
Because influencers are their own species, and if you don't like know each other beforehand, like influencers won't talk to you. Like if they don't know who you are, I feel like there's a lot of intent in events. And it's really weird and uncomfortable if you don't know anyone. So we just pop in and we're like, okay, this is awkward. Let's leave.
Yeah, we do like a little walk around. We'll be like, okay, like
Yeah.
we'll like go and like try to take a photo. Well, I used to not go. Used to not take photos at events. Remember,
Yeah.
I'd go and I kind of like walk around and be like, okay, like grab the free stuff and
Yeah.
like dip.
Yeah, it was too much anxiety because there's so many people like watching you, but no one really cares because everyone's there to get content. So I feel like we had to get over that hurdle.
Yeah, I definitely had to get over that hurdle for a long time. I was like, I don't want to take any photos here. I mean, also it's like sometimes like they're kind of corny. Like
Yeah.
I'm not like it's like like you know like selfie world.
Yeah.
It's like how sometimes the events feel like it's like stationed photos. Like I don't want to take photos in front of something that like every other person that's here is going to take a photo in front of if it looks. I guess also kind of like the point of it though. Like
they're there for the photo ops. It's just I feel like events are fun when we have activities. That's like our main thing. Like if we go to an event and there's things to do, like we'll have a good time. We'll make each other like, you know, have a good time.
Yeah.
But if we walk in and there's nothing to do, just like a bar, it's kind of like, are we just gonna like sit here and get wasted with people that we don't know? It's not as like fun.
Yeah.
Activities.
It is really weird like how many I feel like a lot of people don't know that either. They don't know that when you go to an event, there's really nothing to do there.
Yeah.
You're going there, there's normally an open bar, there's normally something free that you're getting, and then it's everyone's standing around.
Yeah.
Essentially, or like we'll go purposely to people watch. We went to a 420 event and I was like actually kind of excited. Like it was like black tie or not black tie, cocktail attire.
Cocktail, yeah.
And like Booth by Bryant was gonna be there, and it was at Delilah, and I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna get high as fuck. Where there's gonna be like some activity to do there, probably some food, like whatever. And when we showed up,
I had so much anxiety. It was just packed out and nothing to do, which I feel like it was a nighttime event. So like it definitely was like something to like party at, but it just wasn't the environment.
no, it wasn't fun. I think I was like, okay, we're gonna go take photos in the photo booth. We took another photo in the photo booth. We went to the bathroom. We were gonna try to take photos there, but it's a little bit awkward. Delilah, if you've never been, it's really small. This is my first time going to Delilah.
Yeah.
It was really small, and it was weird because they have like booths there, obviously, because it's a club, but like they were like reserved. Like Face Banks had like a booth there. Like what was going on? Why was he having a booth?
Yeah.
At Delilah at a fort. It was like an event, but it felt like we were just at Delilah, I guess. And then we stood there, and it was so awkward because we couldn't sit anywhere because all the booths were reserved. So we're just like standing there, like trying to people watch. You can't people watch when you're standing next to someone you're trying to people watch. Like,
yeah.
It's just not possible.
Wasn't it? I literally had a panic attack. I went home and I was like still buzzing because drinking at those places were like my crutch. Like if it's like an uncomfortable event, it's like, okay, you have a few drinks and then you loosen up. Like I haven't been drinking, so it's just like if it's not a good environment, oh my god, I will literally be anxious and sweating.
Yeah, I think they get like pretty awkward. I remember I went to it was for Coachella, and it was the gifting suite that you couldn't go to, so I went. It was like for CLD, and I remember I didn't feel like drinking, so I was like, I didn't want to drink to to compensate for
Yeah.
feeling awkward and like uncomfortable for being alone. And I remember I like walked so fastly around the entire thing, and I was like, okay, I have to leave because like what am I gonna do? Just like stand here?
Yeah.
And I saw Isabel, and it was so funny because she was making a TikTok
Mm-hmm.
about how she isn't drinking at events to compensate, like the same thing. Like I think I realized through watching her video that like so many I think creators feel that way, but it's not talked about.
Yeah.
But it's weird because you're not really talking to each other either. Like it's not like something I go up and be like, so are you like nervous right now? Like are you feeling like to someone that I'm not very close to?
Yeah. But it's like a universal experience. Unless you're like a
100%.
social butterfly and you really can talk to anyone, that's the only time I feel like you can have like a really good time at events.
Yeah, or if you like know everyone. I feel like there's some people that are just like very, very well like connected with people, but you feel like you have to like be ranked pretty like highly in like the influencer like realm to be on like that level because some people are really rude.
The influencer space is very like weird in that sense where I don't know, like social media is fake. Like so a lot of the people that seem like they would be the sweetest people in person, you meet and you get your heart crushed because you've been watching them since you were younger or like whatever, and then you meet them and you're like, I wish I never met you and I had this like idea of you in my head that I could just keep and never have to like experience you being rude. But a lot of influencers, their ego takes over and then they're not a good person.
Yeah, I remember I tweeted one time when I had Twitter and I was like, your favorite influencer is probably a bitch.
Yeah, and it's so true.
Yeah.
Like it's very sad. I mean, there are like I have met like some bigger creators and been like, "Oh my goodness, like you're like a great person." I feel like when someone can detach themselves from social media and be a real person and like the only thing they like they're a lot of influencers the only thing they talk about is followers and like what they do instead of like actually having a genuine like heart-to-heart conversation, and I just don't want surface level conversations and friendships. And I feel like that's why when I first met you, I was like, oh my goodness, she's so like genuine. She doesn't talk about social media. That's not like her entire life. Like that's just a part of you.
Yeah.
But it's not your whole life, and you can have a conversation where a lot of these people are so superficial that having a conversation, it feels like you're talking to a wall.
Yeah, it's so weird, especially like the little like kind of tiny conversations that you have with people.
Yeah.
Like I can barely do small talk as it is because I think it's really fucking awkward. But then a small talk with an influencer that is like all about themselves is crazy. Or like I don't know, I've never like stood next to someone that's just like constantly talking about like what TikTok they're gonna make.
Yeah.
Like we're no way that's like the or like how many followers they have or how much money they're making. Like I feel like it's crazy. I feel like I hear people talk about how much money they make. In like social settings where like that's just like should not be like a topic of conversation.
Yeah, it feels like they're gloating. Like they're gloating about something, or even like talking about how much something costs. Like we went to like a party and someone like told us how much their outfit cost. Do you remember that?
No. Wait, what? What where were we?
It was a party.
What party?
It was a party and we met like a like close to like A-list celebrity.
Me and you?
Me and you. It was the party that I was super high at. Birthday party.
Oh, Leah's.
Yeah.
Wait,
no.
Oh, wait, I know who you're talking about. Oh, her.
Yeah.
Her, right? Her?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I remember
But it was
now.
just like people talk about weird things, like things that you like normally wouldn't talk about. Like, why are you telling me how much your outfit costs?
I remember this.
Like, it was very odd, and it was the first time both of us meeting her, so it's just like kind of like.
That was a really interesting. I think what's so interesting about the influencer space too is there could be like one like, because the difference between like influencer and celebrity is like a very weird line because. I don't even know, like, I guess I'd say she's definitely a celebrity.
Yeah.
A celebrity versus, like, an influencer. But her being in that space was very weird because people were, like, acting real weird around her. But it was weird because I think she also, I mean, like, I'm not her and I have nothing against her. But I think she also, like, was enjoying it. I think she was enjoying, like, everyone being like, that's.
Yeah.
Because, like, what?
Yeah.
Like, that interaction, I think, and I've had multiple, like, interactions with her. And I think that she's nice from like, I mean,
she was definitely like a nice girl.
Yeah. Nice girl, but definitely like very. You can kind of just. It's by the way that they hold themselves. Like I wouldn't be like, oh, like she's like normal. I'd be like she thinks very highly of herself.
Yeah.
Because it's the way that like people like in that like weird like kind of space like they carry themselves like very like. It's kind of like we were in Malibu yesterday and. when we were talking about we were in
Barefoot Dreams.
Barefoot Dreams, and there's that like mom in there, and she's being so rude, and we were talking about just like people with like money and like how they're like, what were we saying? How they're like, they're like very like kind of condescending. They like are rich. They act a certain way. That's like the best comparison I could say to like any type of like influencer slash like celebrity that's on that type of like B-A-list like level, like in that division of like they think like they act like one of those like rich white moms that uses all their husband's money and does nothing all day.
Yeah. Like very just rude and feel like entitlement, like very entitled and feel like they like you owe them something because they have money and they just treat people like, and some influencers don't, like I feel like that's like a big thing too where people think if you're an influencer you're rich, and a lot of like my like big influencer friends are like struggling to pay rent, and I just feel like it's like a follower thing, like it's either followers or money, like that inflates your ego so much that you think you're better than like the average person, when it's like we're all human beings experiencing life. Why are you acting like you're superior to others?
Yeah, it is really crazy. I think a lot of people like that's such, oh my god, I'm so glad that you said that, because so many people think influencers are rich.
Yeah. Girl, no.
No, so many people lie about how much money they make, which is why like when I kind of like mentioned before how people like talk about like kind of money and like little small talk conversations, it's most of the time that they're lying.
Yeah, because I feel like they try to make it like a lifestyle, and they want it to be like unattainable for like the viewer to watch, which I feel like viewers like more relatable content, but for some reason that's like such a thing of like making you look like you have such a luxurious life.
Yeah, like it's like everything's a flex. Like they're buying like nice cars or nice clothes but they're actually they're literally broke. Literally so broke.
It's really weird.
I wanted to talk about something you talked to me about before, about that interaction you had with one of, I would not consider them a friend, but someone that you followed on social media.
So I met this person it was like a little kickback. Like it was very intimate. There was probably 10 people there. So everyone was talking to everyone. And I felt like we had a really good conversation. We talked for like all night, for hours. I talked to this person and they talked to my friends, and I had a really good impression of them. And they're a bigger influencer. I like knew of them. I didn't really know them. We followed each other on social media. It was a great interaction. And then there was a party, and I saw them, and I was with my boyfriend, and I was like, oh my god, I need to introduce you to them. They're gonna be like so great. I feel like we could all hang out with them, like our friend group. And I went up to them and I like tapped them on the shoulder, and they turned around and fully like looked me like up and down and like acted like they didn't know me and gave me like a little like side hug, and I've never felt so uncomfortable. Like oh my goodness, like it seemed like they didn't know who I was, which I know they did because we follow each other on social media. We met like not too long ago, but they acted like they didn't know me, and I didn't know why. But a lot of influencers are like that. Like you can have the best interaction with them and be like, oh my gosh, we vibed so well, we followed each other, like I really like them, and then you see them again and they act so strange. And that was like one of the moments where I was like, I'm never saying hi first ever again. And I literally don't do that now because I'm scared that if I go up to someone that like we follow each other, we comment on each other's things, that they're gonna act like they don't know who you are when they're around like their other like really big friends like that have like a big social media following. And it's really weird because it's like, you know me, we vibed, like why are you acting like that? But people are strange about that, and I don't know why, because I have like a lot of friends in LA that have like this like another universal experience where people are like, yeah, I went up to one of my social media friends that I thought was like one of my social media friends, and they acted like they didn't know me, or they just were like, oh hi. It's so weird.
Yeah, it's crazy how much like that's like such like a thing. Like when like obviously like pre-social media, let's say like I followed someone that like lived in my same town, right? And I saw them like I'd go up and like say hi to them and like be like, oh hey, like have some sort of small talk. But if I follow an influencer, and even if they follow me back, like you'll not catch me anytime going up and saying hi to them, because exactly like what you were saying, like I've had similar experiences of like going up to somebody and like them just like acting like they have no idea who I am, and I'm like, you literally went on your phone, you press the followed button, followed me back, you see my stuff.
Yeah.
And you're gonna act like you have no idea who I am in person.
It's really weird. It's very strange. I feel like people just try to make it seem like they don't know anyone and they're too cool, but it's really strange.
Like, don't follow me then.
Yeah.
Like, don't follow me. Like, you're weird.
Yeah.
Like,
when things like that happen, I'm like, unfollow. We're no longer social media friends. Like, you are weird.
And it's crazy because it's always the people that you kind of, like, least expect it to. Like, I don't know if I talked to you about it, but when I was at Coachella, like, I, like, know, like me, I'm just gonna name drop because I feel like it's easier in this situation.
Okay.
So, like, me and, like, I would consider me and David Dobrik, like, maybe friends, maybe mutuals, like, whatever. Yeah. And I haven't, like, ever, like, really hung out with him or anything, but when we were at Coachella, I was, like, walking somewhere. I was walking to a set, and he walked past me. Mm-hmm. And, like, I saw him, but I didn't want to, like, go up to him and be like, oh, hey, because, like, we're not, like, super buddy-buddy, but he, like, saw me, and he's like, oh, my God, hi, and he gave me a hug. Yeah. And it's crazy that someone on, like, that level can come up and, like, say hi to me and, like, as I, like, not that I wouldn't want to go up and say hi to him, but it's the fact that he came up to me, like, I was like, oh, wait, this is actually, like, nice, because anyone else in, like, his level position would have just, like, pretend like they had no idea who the fuck I was and would have kept on walking, like, but somebody, like, a small-ass creator, or someone, just an influencer that follows me, that we've maybe DM'd or commented each other stuff, is gonna see me in person and act like they have no idea who I am.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Really weird. Yeah, I feel like that's how you tell, like, someone's character.
Yeah.
Like, you can tell that he didn't let it, like, inflate his ego. Like, he's still, like, down to, like, have a good time and talk to people and stuff. Yeah. But some people literally will only want to talk to you if they can gain something from you.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's
so sad.
The like, anarchy of, like, social media creators is, like,
yeah.
I think it's something that nobody really, like, thinks about. And even when you're in the space, like, you could have, like, literally, like, probably, like, 600K on Instagram and still not be good enough for some people to want to, like, be your friend or hang out with you or talk to you. Like, it's, like, unfathomable.
It's kind of sad because I feel like the whole, like, point of life is to, like, have human connection, and the people that act like that, I'm like, how are you, like, sane? How are you having a good time? Because I wouldn't.
No, it's crazy too. I think it's so talked about too. I think between, like, other, like, influencers, like, it's always, like, something that's, like, kind of like people will talk about it.
Yeah.
But nothing ever changes. Like, you know, like, when you see somebody, and I say I fall victim to this too, so I can't really say anything, but, like, you'll see somebody be like, oh my, like, we so need to hang out. Like, oh my God, we, like, need to grab lunch.
Yeah.
We're literally never grabbing lunch. We're never grabbing lunch.
I feel like a lot of people do that in LA. Like, it's like, oh my God, you've been living here for a year. Like, why haven't we seen each other? And it's like, okay, see me then. Like,
but it's because I think,
don't say that.
It's hard because I think I fall victim to it too, because it's hard because it's like, I don't know what else to say. And I think that's always the problem, is that, like, there's people that I'll see, like, reoccurring. I see them at every single event. I'm always like, oh, hey, hi, like, what's up? Like, and I don't know what to talk to them about. And I feel like that is, like, my human instinct is to be like, oh my God, like, we should catch up, like, grab lunch or whatever. And then, like, and then I'm like, why the fuck did I just say that? But then, like, also, like, I think it's just, like, how I'm, like, you don't know what, I think that's also where, like, those, like, small interactions that you have with people, you do not know what to say because you don't know them well enough to not say anything. But also, like, you can be on, like, a certain comfort level with someone to be like, oh, hey, like, there's, like, someone that, like, I used to, like, live with when I lived at Vault, and I see her at every single event, and I love her. Hey, Jackie, I love you. Every single time I see her, we always are like, oh my God, we need to hang out. We're, like, never probably gonna hang out, but it's not like that. Like, it's not, like, in that negative connotation of, like, oh, like, I never want to hang out with her. Like, I never want to grab lunch with her. It's just, we were just talking about this, like, literally yesterday, how, like, when you live, especially in LA, everyone lives in LA. Yeah. Like, everyone lives in LA. And I think it's really difficult because people, like, they have their own lives. Like, you always push it off. You're like, oh, we could just do this then. Like, oh, like, even me and you, like, I'm like, oh, like, I can grab, like, we pushed off our content day for so long, not, like, personally, but, like, things
for,
just
like,
came up.
a month.
Yeah, but things just came up, and we're like, oh, we'll just do it, like, the next week or the next week or the next week. And that's how it is with every single person here. Like, I think the amount of times I talked about hanging out with someone, like, changing was, like, crazy.
It is crazy. Like, I think you've been living here for how many months now? Like, 3? Yeah, Kaylie's lived here for 3 months. I've seen her probably 4 times.
Wait, 5 actually.
5 months. I've seen her, like,
wait,
a handful of times, like 4 or 5 times, and she lives down the street from me. It's just, like, a thing in LA. I don't know why. Like, I love her. Like, I hang out with her. Like, but I feel like sometimes we're just like, oh, like, we have something to do, and then we push it off, and then we're like, oh, a week later, and we're like, oh, we should do something. We meant to do something last week, and then it just kind of, like,
it's constantly spiraling. It's like, oh my gosh, wait, when are we gonna?
Yeah, and then we eventually are like, okay, sit down, let's get together. We can't.
Yeah.
We can't
And normally it's I think it's also nice because we have like, it's also like normally for an event. Like I feel like I always like, I'm like, okay, like we're going to go to an event. I'm like, oh my God, yes, I get like my Daniella time. I also get someone that's going to comfort me. And then I also get this now new experience for her to get at this event. Oh my gosh, I remember the worst gifting suite we ever went to. It's the one that we went to semi-recently. You vlogged it. We walked in and no one greeted us. So normally when you go to a gifting suite, like, you know, you walk in, they're like, oh my God, hey, so happy that you're here. You can get X amount of things, like go have fun. There's a drink there or something. Yeah. We walked in, literally no one greeted us.
No one said what we were doing there. There was nothing to do. There was just...
It was like a tiny ass room.
I think also, like, different categories of influencers are very different at each event. Like, sometimes you go to events and there's a lot of, like, chill, like, very outgoing influencers, and those are usually the ones I feel like we have fun at. But fashion and beauty influencers specifically, sorry to call y'all out, but they're so, like, in their zone of getting the content that they literally do not care if they're in the way. They don't care about anything but getting the photo, getting the content, and they won't say a word to you. Like, they will have RBF the entire time they're there, and then they'll just leave. And that's why I like fashion and beauty. I feel like I always have the worst times at.
Yeah.
Unless, like, the brand specifically picks people that aren't just that niche. Then I feel like we have more fun.
Yeah, because we went to that event, like, it was a small space, and everyone was, like, taking photos, and I was like, I'm not taking a goddamn one photo in here.
Yeah. It was really awkward.
It was bad. We could literally talk about this for hours, but we're going to have to wrap this one up. What are your socials?
My socials for Instagram are Daniella Lopez 98, and the same thing, Daniella Lopez 9988 for TikTok. It's really annoying, but those are my socials.
We love it. Thank you guys for joining us for the first episode of Let's Talk About It, and we'll see you next week.